an idol commonly worshipped by the Knights Templar, a demon with the head of a goat. This figure later became the idol of worship for witches as well.
Hello Internet, I'm HamsterBomb.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Demonica, your Shin Megami Tensei Demon Compendium, where we look at the real-life lore that influenced the designs behind the series' demons. Kim, have you looked outside? Did you notice that the moon is shining brightly?
Yes.
That's a thing in SMT.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing. Anyway, what religious, mythological, historical, fictional, cryptozoological character or concept will we be summoning tonight?
Baphomet!
Baphomet! There was a lot of good B's that we almost went with. I really love Beelzebub. I heard Barong. I gotta know about Belphegor, the pooping potty demon. But anyway, Baphomet just kind of worked out as a great one for us to start. So just a couple things of housekeeping before we really dig into this. I'm trying some new audio processing and recording options, so bear with me as I experiment with some better options for the show. The last episode, to me, didn't sound so great, so I'm hoping to slowly improve that as we move ahead. And also, the demon I was trying to pronounce off the top of my head last time was Mananangul.
Well, that doesn't sound right at all.
That's how you're actually supposed to say it. I listened to somebody who, I believe it's from the Philippines, say Mananangul. Mananangul. I said Magonagul. I add an extra G in there because it's easier to say in English, I guess. So Mananangul. Maybe one day we'll get to do an episode on that. That'd be great. Now, with that out of the way, what do we first think of when we hear the name Baphomet?
Well, see, the thing is, the first time I think I've ever experienced Baphomet was Persona 5. So I just think of the demon in Persona, which is...
Oh, really? That's just what taught it to you?
Yeah, that's just... You say Baphomet, that's just what I think of, so...
To be fair, I think that might have been when I saw it first, but after the fact, I think of a story arc in Berserk, which I started reading after I'd played Persona 5. But anyway, in Berserk, there is a side story where there is this goat demon that commands a sex cult of drugged naked people. It has the head of a goat and the body of a human, except for its snake for a penis, which is probably not a Baphomet thing.
No.
No, but Berserk is really weird. So, anyway, it was, like, very much trying to take Baphomet. Like, visually, it looked exactly like Baphomet, except for the
Well, as we will find out tonight that there are a lot of things that Baphomet influences just by its visual design.
Yeah, and its visual design is not consistent, as I'll get into with SMT.
I said it only has like 2 designs.
Well, not really. There's some others that are really weird. That all the offshoot games where they wanted to change up the designs for everybody.
All I really care about is the Devil Children designs.
We will talk about some silly designs. So anyway, let's first talk about Baphomet as it appears in SMT. So far, Baphomet appears in 32 games, going all the way back to Megami Tensei 2. Its design has gone back and forth in a strange way, but before we get into that, there is something really bugging me about Baphomet, specifically about that lore description. Kim, it is time for your surprise quiz question. And you might be able to answer this one because you were the one who did all the research on the lore.
Yes.
Baphomet's in-game description, which we read at the top of this episode, claims it was worshipped by the Knights Templar. But what is the truth? A. Baphomet is a corruption of the name Muhammad, so it's technically a misunderstanding. B. King Philip IV had the Knights Templar all framed and burned at the stake to steal their money. C. Pope Clement was in on a conspiracy but got off scot-free. D. All of the above.
It is D.
Yes, it is D. All of the above.
Why did you just steal, like, all of my main story points?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know what you researched, but I guess that's just going to dig into something later.
That's like the main story of Baphomet. Why would you steal my thunder like that?
Well, if anything, I'd like to hear that story. There is one fun poetic justice thing to it. There's like a legend that I really hope you're going to tell. Do you have something at the end?
I have something from 2015.
No, okay. I have a fun little thing that I'd like to add to this.
Did you do research on this? This is my part.
This was driving me nuts, and I knew it was wrong when I read that lore, and I was like, I have to read this, and I know it's wrong. And I don't know what Kim is going to find out, because supposedly it's also all about witches. So if you don't already know, Kim and I don't share our notes, so that way each other is going to be surprised by stuff as we do the episode. So hopefully Kim doesn't have anything on this, but I would at least like to let you know, yes, of course, that stuff's true. She's going to give us more information, but I have one little thing I'd like to read about it. So as poetic justice, one of the burning knights who insisted on burning while praying and facing Notre Dame Cathedral prophesied that the ones responsible for murdering his fellow knights would face karmic retribution. And as the legend goes, within the year, both King Philip IV and Pope Clement would be dead. And that was Baphomet's doing. Which really would be ironic if they're like, oh no, it's not true. This is all a lie. You made this up. That's Muhammad, you imbecile. I will face Notre Dame. And never mind, it was actually just this goat demon, and I'm sorry. Anyway, we do get a better lore description from Persona 5, but I did want to read the popular one because it's still the most used one. If I play the most recent versions of Shin Megami Tensei or Persona, I think even Persona 5X still uses this, then it's still using the quote that we had at the top about the Knights Templar, so it's pushing this bad information. But here's what we get from Persona 5.
A goat-headed demon that is worshipped in black Sabbaths. His name is sometimes used as a generic name for any demon. He would become an object of worship for witches.
The only thing in that's weird is they just gentrificated, is that a word? Yeah, Baphomet.
I don't think that's the right word for
gentrified?
That. That's not the right word.
Baphomet has a penis, as confirmed by Persona 5.
Yeah, but I found a lot of things wrong with that statement because it does not have anything to do with Wicca.
This is so messed up. Well, I'm very excited to hear what you have to say and more information on the Knights Templar, because that is just something that I couldn't stand. This is a me problem. If somebody says something that is just incorrect, I have to correct them. So even though I know it's going to be your job to correct them, I still have to correct them.
I just felt like you stole so much of my thunder where I was just going to talk about all of these story points.
Oh, no, absolutely.
How dare you?
Please do that. I had a bad feeling you were going to take that and say, well, Alex, technically not all of those are true because A is incorrect. It was not from Muhammad. It's from some other thing. Or Pope Clement was not in on this thing. But
see, the Pope, I have a different story on, but it was just cliff notes in the bigger story.
I'd like to hear that. If anything, we have a little teaser of what Kim is going to be digging us into. We just started the episode. If we've given you some information, it's that Baphomet's story is weird. And I think we chose the right one for B. Anyway, conspiracies aside, Baphomet tends to be an early mid-game demon that is weak to light, resists fire in some way, and completely blocks dark. Kim is nodding right now. If there's anything that makes sense or doesn't make sense about the mechanical stuff, chime in at any point.
I think all of those points make complete sense.
Whenever I see a weak, light, block, dark demon, I instantly think that this thing is evil. If it's weak to light and blocks the dark, it's just something that I don't want in my house.
I think it's just, when I get to my conclusions later, I don't know if I necessarily see Bahamut as evil anymore.
Mechanically, though, if I'm just talking SMT, whenever I see it doing that, I associate it with it just being evil. So, anyway, it doesn't help its case that it usually learns fire and dark skills, some of which are heavy single hits or weak hit-all attacks. Also, its best stat is almost always its magic. Baphomet is generally a Chaos-aligned demon, unless you're playing Strange Journey, where it is Law. Favoring Chaos tends to mean that you prefer a world of freedom where you don't have to live under someone else's boot.
So, I think it should be more Law than anything else, because he's known for working along with Satan, who is definitely Law-aligned.
Satan in SMT is as Law as you can get.
So that's why I think about that a lot, but yes, I would say that Baphomet does represent some sort of a freedom within our culture. Just diving into it, I think it really should be Law-aligned more than Chaos.
In the games where there is a dark and light alignment, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, there is a dark, neutral, and light alignment that you can also put on Chaos and Law. In every instance, I believe that I've seen, whether it was Law or Chaos aligned, it was always dark. So if that makes sense with Baphomet, I think that they at least were thinking the same way you were, that it's still kind of sinister, dark, sinister Law.
I think more in the modern terms of it and what's been created of it than yes.
In its earliest incarnation in Megami Tensei 2, Baphomet looks pretty familiar as a horned goat-headed beast with a human female torso and goat legs. Behind it are two feathered green wings, and it's posed with its legs crossed, its right hand raised, and left hand at its side, palm out. From my understanding, this pose is synonymous with Baphomet and gets referenced in popular culture as it does in the final photograph hanging on the wall at the end of the movie The Shining, where we see Jack Nicholson's character Jack Torrance doing the exact pose, giving the impression of a large satanic cult. It's creepy. And for some reason, this is the only time Baphomet actually does this pose in all of SMT.
Really?
It was just its very first incarnation. They did a very literal illustration of Baphomet, the pose and everything, and it doesn't do it anymore. I will get into what it looks like later, but yeah, that...
It doesn't?
Kim's, like, double taking her out.
I'm like, wait, that's such a iconic pose for
know,
Baphomet.
I know, and I would expect, like, maybe for, like, a magic attack in the 3D games, maybe it would, like, do its pose or something to fire an attack, but no, it does, like, a goat... It doesn't make that noise. But
I really wish it did.
I mean, it probably would. It has the torso of a human, though. It would probably sound like a human with goat lips. Anyway, one of the things that's kind
So it would like the sound that you just made?
Yeah. Because that's what I am.
You are human.
With goat lips.
With goat lips.
So, another thing that's funny that they never did again, the human torso part of Baphomet in Megami Tensei 2 is actually skin tone. And there's nipples on this. On the Famicom. They decided after this point, let's not make it human, flesh-colored, and we're going to change this around. So moving on to Shin Megami Tensei 2, Baphomet got quite the artistic change. Now it's a pale yellow and magenta humanoid with 10 tentacles coming from its head like long flowing hair. Kim is shaking her head no. No, you haven't seen enough hentai to know where this is going. Unless by hentai, you mean commercial failure cult classic films from the early 90s. Because fans believe that this redesign for Baphomet is meant to match the design shown in the film Nightbreed. After checking it out, I agree it looks similar, and the years check out, so this does seem plausible. Plus, as we previously mentioned last episode about tulpas, the popular consensus of a demon may cause it to change its physiology. So, in my opinion, what happened was this movie comes out that looks like it's got some new version of Baphomet. Baphomet is a major character in the story and has a very unique, not Baphomet illustration design. And for the game on Super Nintendo, which came out a few years later, Super Famicom, they decided to reference that design for Baphomet, abandoning what they had before.
Very weird. I mean, like, I just think of this new design that should never have been, other than what you're saying. They're very influenced by pop culture references instead, and that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, aside from the fact that this movie was a huge commercial failure, and supposedly that, in our universe understanding of how Shin Megami Tensei demons work, they get more powerful and they get their physical incarnation based on what people perceive them as. Because the opposite is true. I was actually just playing some Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance earlier today, and there's a whole side quest with the African demons, worrying that because people aren't believing in them and remembering them, they're going to fade away into nothing and disappear. So the reverse is true. We already know they have canonized that. That is how it works. So in SMT2, this movie comes out and everyone watches it, and that's what Baphomet is now.
If people would associate that immediately with Baphomet, I know nothing of the movie, so...
Yeah, as most people are probably typing it into their phones in an alternate tab, trying to figure out what the heck I'm even talking about. I'm pretty sure I played a horrible NES game during my NES quest on my YouTube channel about Nightbreed, because I remember the name being so questionable.
You're like, I don't know if I can play this on my channel.
Yeah, I'm like, do I have to stop? Is this one of those unlicensed games that I probably shouldn't be streaming? But anyway, Baphomet does get an interesting boss fight in SMT2, where it appears to stop you in the quest to reassemble Masakato's missing body parts. Sort of. Technically, it gets angry that you won't agree to go on a date with Yomatsu Shikome, basically an old hag of the underworld. So you kill Baphomet and get rewarded with a severed arm.
What does that have anything to do with Baphomet?
The original games are bonkers, that's all that matters. Yeah, it has nothing to do with Baphomet.
Don't forget, we can thank Stephen Hawking for all of these demons.
And that was that was the only incarnation of Baphomet in that game. Now, you could fuse it after the fact, but Baphomet's only inclusion...
So weird. They were just like, I don't know, find a demon to fill that role. And
yeah,
just,
I want you to go on a date with this demon that's not actually in this game. Like oh, okay. Now it's in SMT3 that we got the Baphomet that we all know and recognize today, as its design basically hasn't changed after this point. Baphomet returns to its goat-headed design with some slight alterations. Its human skin is now a dark gray, matching its new fur and feather coloring. It wears a white sash across its waist and a metal bra over its chest. A golden green scaled shield or talisman of some sort is sticking out of the front of its pants, on which we see 2 gold snakes coiling around a golden dagger. Its pose has also shifted into a simple cross-legged meditation with both hands on the knees, but most notably with this design are larger horns and a third horn in the middle burning with fire like a lit torch.
I did have a question about this. Did this design, does it have a pentagram in the middle of its forehead at all?
All right, we just confirmed no, there is no pentagram on Baphomet's head.
I just had to double check that. I mean, the fire is important.
Okay, it's the first time we're getting that fire if it's crucial in some way to the lore.
I mean, it's in the original drawing.
Okay. If there is an original, I'm happy to hear about it. Anyway, Baphomet also has a great side quest inclusion in 3, where a pair of mannequins are attempting to hurry a Baphomet along in summoning Mara. And this doesn't go well, and Baphomet screws up the incantation, only summoning Mara in its incomplete and quite flaccid, goopy form, leading to a very tricky boss fight. It's funny. It's also really hard, and you have to do it if you want to get all of the Magatamas. I'm sorry. The
thing you eat through your eyeball?
Yeah, the thing you eat.
No, wait, do you eat it in your mouth? Wait.
Yeah, but those little things that change the Demi-Fiend's stats and give him different abilities. But anyway, if you're trying to collect them all and you get the amazing one at the very end of the game, you have to do this quest.
Why can't you just swallow all of them at once?
You wouldn't need to. Once you get the best one, the last one, the Masakado one, you don't need the others. Now, there are some amusing designs found in the lesser-known games. Hip hip hooray, Kim, here comes the stupid stuff. For instance, in Last Bible 3, a wingless Baphomet stands and holds a ceremonial scepter. In Majin Tensei 2, yes, I believe I said that right, it holds a skull, and in Devil Children, I'm not even sure how to describe it. A blue gelatinous humanoid with a long tail is dressed like a colorful flamenco dancer. Its head is a human skull with 2 large horns, and it holds a similar ceremonial scepter as before.
So, none of that sounds... I mean, it's fine for it holding a scepter. It's typically is depicted with some sort of, like, a staff or a...
Oh, really?
Wand. Yeah.
How's it do that with its famous pose? Or is it just, like, one of the...
Just one of the hands,
One of the hands has it? But those are definitely the exceptions. Baphomet has looked pretty consistent throughout the games, as shown in its newest art for Persona 5X, which is what is used on this episode's thumbnail.
You know, I do have to say it's really bothering me that it's not doing its hand pose.
Yeah, once I noticed that the original design did the hand pose, and then it just stopped doing it. Now it's just bored and has its hands on its legs.
It's taking more of like a Buddhist pose almost, or something like that, you know?
It's not even meditative. It looks more stern, like it's in timeout. Like it did something wrong.
Well, when you go into a meditative pose with your hands down, that's saying that you're trying to ground your energy down versus your hands up, where you're trying to receive more energy.
Like solar panels?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yep, human solar panels.
Okay, so he's like grounding and trying to release its energy, but also its head's on fire.
I don't know. I thought it was still doing the hand pose, so I'm all thrown off.
No. So even seeing this new artwork right now is confusing you?
I think the first place that I had encountered it was in Futaba's Palace in Persona 5. Mm-hmm. And I just love this design. I think that's what I remember it from. I'm like, I really like this creature. I want to know more about it.
Yeah, there's few of the demons that look to me like a textbook demon. And I think Baphomet is like textbook. That's a demon.
Right, right.
It makes sense for us to do it right after Angel. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will dive into the lore of Baphomet. And we're back with more Demonica. Now it is time to ask the question, Kim, What is Baphomet?
I am still really upset you stole my thunder earlier. So, just going into a base description of Baphomet, it's not typically described as a demon, but more as a deity or an idol. Even though I know we said it was like the textbook look for a demon.
Yeah.
It originated in southern Turkey area and has ties with France as well.
Okay.
As you've mentioned, King Philip.
I'm sure there's more to the story. I just got the gist of it.
And today it's typically portrayed as a pagan or an occult idol. So not necessarily a Wiccan or Wicca.
That's kind of what, pagan
Neo-paganism.
Pagan is a catch-all term for not us. It's like almost like the other religion. It's anything that
is more natural. I feel like paganism deals with things that are more natural and down to earth and spirits.
Oh, sure. If you want to get very specific, something that doesn't fit in, because usually throughout history, pagan was the term for all the religions were playing teams, and pagan just means the away team.
Sure. Pagan is just the religion that the Christians just decided to abolish completely.
The Christians were like, oh, what, you don't practice Catholicism? You're a pagan.
How dare you?
Julius Caesar travels north to the lands of the giants. He finds the Celts. Well, what are these crazy barbarians? They're pagans. That was just the term.
Right.
So pagan, to me, means nothing. So if Wiccan makes more sense, or witch...
I don't feel like
Wiccan and witches are not just the same thing.
They are.
I looked it up and they're not.
Witches practice Wiccan.
Okay,
so
you lied to me. Never mind, this is not my job.
Just know it's more of an occult idol. It's not really intertwined with witches at all. Although, there's some cases where sure you can, but we'll get into where it actually lands in today's modern culture.
I'd like to know the full story of what I dabbled in earlier.
Okay, so as we mentioned, there's a lot of heavy miscommunication in this story.
Yeah, for that all the above to be true.
Correct. So
I was fully expecting you to call me out and say something was wrong there, because if I was getting that gist and that was the correct answer, something's really wrong.
Yeah, so Baphomet really, I think, came from miscommunication more than anything else.
Oh no, people were saying Muhammad too fast? So seriously?
Here we go.
We're playing telephone?
All right. Yes. So, the first known mention of Baphomet was in a letter written describing the siege of Antioch.
So it's bad handwriting.
During the First Crusade in 1098.
Okay.
So, I'm just thinking back to Angel last week. That was 4th BC, and now we're up to 1098.
That's recent by
that's
comparison.
So much more recent. So, the letter stated that the Turks called loudly upon Baphomet. But there's a lot of debate around this letter, and some believe it was just mistaken that the Turks were actually mispronouncing Muhammad.
Oh.
So that's the first instance of it. And then later in 1307...
So this is a dialect thing.
Right. So later in 1307, King Philip IV of France had arrested every Templar that was residing in France at the time. He accused them...
The Knights Templar, we should explain who they are first before you get too far into that. They were the holy army of the Crusades for the Pope.
Right. People could not have been more holy than thee.
Yes. Now, not all of them were knights, but a lot of them were.
Right.
And yeah, they were the most holy practicing people that you could ever find.
Exactly. So it's pretty big of King Philip.
No one's going to tell the king that he's wrong.
To accuse the Knights Templar of worshipping a false idol. It was a false idol of a bearded male head they called Baphomet, supposedly. This is all
Which sounds a heck of a lot like Muhammad.
Right?
Visually, that sounds like Muhammad. You didn't say goat.
He also accused them of other behaviors like spitting on the cross and just all over,
Yes.
blasphemy and things like that. So, they were all burned at the stake.
Yep.
That was great. I'm so glad that happened. And it wasn't just the Templars either. You had mentioned the Pope. Well, what I had read is that he had actually kidnapped the Pope and had tried to accuse him of the same things.
Oh. So he was trying to take over.
And then he tried to do the same thing to the Freemasons. Well, that might have been later by someone else accusing the Freemasons.
Specifically about Baphomet?
Of the same crimes, yes. of worshiping Baphomet as an idol and the spitting on the cross thing, like, they were also accusing the Freemasons of that.
So was my answer earlier correct that he did this for money?
I'm not entirely sure. From my understanding, it was more about taking over, because if you look at...
Taking over the church's
right.
influence?
So if you see, I was looking at a map to see where, like, the whole Turks thing had started over in Turkey versus, like, how close it was to France, and I think he was just, like, trying to increase his influential power across the states.
Because my research went no deeper than Wikipedia, and it basically just said that this was done because he coveted their wealth, and that money, if it was tied up in the church, and the church isn't permitted to have it because it was a scandal, it's going to go to the state, and the state is him.
Because, French royalty is so, kind and giving, and we expect nothing less from them. I mean, I think when I saw it was France, I was like, of course it was. So this brings us forward to, I mean, I didn't pick up that thing about you were saying, like, how we, like, curse the land.
The guy who wanted to face Notre Dame?
Yeah.
I thought that was, like, the coolest part. It's like
I
the
didn't
legend
actually
of the story.
read that. Like, a lot of times that was not popping up at the ends of it.
Oh,
so
good. Thank you, Wikipedia, for that interesting lore exposition.
So now we're going to fast forward from 1307. Now we're going to 1813.
That's already 300 years. 1307 would be like 300 years
300
after
years
the first
after
incarnation.
The first of
misinterpretation
of Muhammad, all the way to now 1813. So this is 500 years after King Philip.
Yikes.
So in 1813, Francois Renoir,
you probably said that almost correct.
I hope I said that almost correct. Is very French. Wrote that Baphomet was a simple scribal error or miscommunication and not an esoteric mystery.
No kidding.
He argued that the scribe who was recounting the questioning of witnesses clearly made a mistake when transcribing, once again mishearing the name Muhammad since the witnesses were from southern provinces.
Oh my god.
So he is
going
over
twice?
how the scribe was miscommunicating from the trials in 1307. And then before that was a crusader writing back about the Turks in 1098.
This is the most deadly game of telephone I've ever heard.
I wrote in my notes, I just wrote bad trial. Just bad. The Knights of the Templar during that trial had explained they did not worship an idol. They worshipped an idol, but not necessarily as a god. But most of them couldn't even describe what their idol had looked like.
Well, yeah.
I think that's kind of leading the, leading the accused and getting false testimonies.
Oh, yeah. If you go back to the Templar, I was reading a lot of that, too, where they had a lot of, they were getting their interrogations and confirmations, confessions under duress.
Yes.
And a lot of the knights would say, there was one that they had a quote for that, of course, I don't have on hand right now, but effectively, when translated to English, it said something along the lines of, I spat on the cross 3 times with my mouth, but not with my heart.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of forced confessions.
Yeah, so, like, it was a forced confession, but also, he, like, admitted that he did it, but said he didn't.
He was probably hoping that maybe it would get them off from being killed.
Yeah, which didn't work.
No, because, he ended up just killing all the Templars anyway.
Yeah, because it wasn't about them actually worshipping a false idol.
No, he had, there were some things that I had read where they were like, we think, King Philip made this up, actually, just to...
No kidding!
Yeah, just to... get the Templars under his foot.
Yeah, well, also, the Templar... See, what's weird is, I would think he would rather have a scheme where he could own
and control
the Templars, because they were so powerful.
Yeah, and so influential.
Yeah. Like, why would you want to kill just for cash? How short on cash could you be? You're the king!
Of France.
Oh, well...
Hey, they weren't killing them yet by this point.
That's right.
So, all of this leads us to even a more modern work called The Dogma and Ritual of High Magic by a French occultist, Eliphas Levi, from 1854, where Baphomet first became a recognized occult icon.
So now we've transitioned completely.
He was some made-up idol that was mistranslated.
Miscommunication.
And now somebody is coming along in 1854 and says, no, this is an occult idol. this is what this is.
It sounds to me like the first person to do that was probably playing a prank, like a flying spaghetti monster kind of thing. Like, I still to this day don't know why we don't have a flying spaghetti monster in Shin Megami Tensei. But anyway, somebody is saying, okay, hey, what if we actually worshipped that thing, like, just for the lulz, and accidentally started a cult-following church?
Right. Which is kind of what happens next, you know?
That's a little concerning.
But he's already an occultist, so he's already, like, in that side of things, and now he's creating almost this idol for them to go off of. So the book came with a very detailed description and drawing of Baphomet, which I believe is the first image of Baphomet.
Well, considering how everything up to this point was hearsay, no kidding!
Right! And, you know, was Muhammad, but whatever.
You telling me the people who were making it up to try to make a church out of it decided to be the first ones to make an illustration of this thing that doesn't exist?
So, the occultists described Baphomet as a hermaphroditic winged human figure with the head and feet of a goat.
Okay, so there goes the dick.
Right.
So Berserk is wrong. Also, Persona 5 is wrong for saying it was a he.
It's hermaphroditic. So,
okay,
yeah.
so it had a cloaca until the dick grew out of the cloaca.
I think I've had some hermaphroditic fish before.
Where they do grow a dick. So maybe in your story, if Baphomet becomes a he, then we will actually see some wonderful conclusion that makes Persona 5...
You know what? Through all of my research, I have never seen anything...
So you're telling me every version of the lore description of Baphomet in SMT is wrong?
Correct. Because... So there are some people, like, you'll randomly see, like, bloggers and stuff refer to it as he, but if you're looking at, like, the actual mythological people researching and publishing things, it's always an it,
and with the real
or
fake
them,
stuff.
or they, yeah. I've read many parts of its esoteric imagery represent opposites of each other. So we always have, you know, the arm up, arm down.
Okay.
And we have male, female. Baphomet...
Oh, because it's supposedly a he, but also it has women's breasts. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's hermaphroditic, so it has both.
So it's supposed to be both.
Right.
Okay.
So Baphomet has become a symbol of union of opposites, such as one arm is male and one arm is female.
How can you tell? Does he paint the nails?
Well, one side has a full breast and the other does not.
Oh, that's part of your arm?
Well, I mean, that's what has been used to depict to show which side is which.
Okay, so he's like the ancient people who, like, wanted to have, like, a favorite boob.
So, yeah, that was my thing with the SMT version. I was like, it's not typically depicted with two boobs. It's usually one. if it does happen.
In SMT? No, SMT, it's always pretty symmetrical.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, that was one of my issues with the design.
To be fair, in SMT 3 on that new design that we all recognized, it's wearing, like, that big metal top.
Sure.
So you don't know what's under that.
So Baphomet is usually depicted with a pentagram on its head. The pentagram also has the meanings of unifying opposites. It can be also representative of the 5 elements. So I did want to mention that in that drawing, in the occultist drawing, he does have that fire also coming out of its head.
Okay.
But I think that's also where the point is for fire in the pentagram.
The pentagram points down?
No, the pentagram is up, pointing down. They mean two different things. So I'm...
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Right.
Right. You mean the empty space where you write something.
Yeah, I think the top one means fire or something like that. There were
I see.
So much symbolism in Baphomet that it was clearly they took their time putting it together to make sure it meant these specific things.
Some guys were not paying attention in school for a long time to come up with all this bogus lore.
So very basic meaning is that Baphomet represents everything breaking down to its base and forming together again. So a unification is really what it's talking about, which is why I think it needs to be on the law side of
that
things.
Sounds like chaos to me. You want to break everything down to its fundamentals and let things go. That's chaos. So,
and with the hands, it's pointing to the as so above, as below, or if you've heard that phrase
as above,
before.
so below.
Yeah.
It's actually, for a loose translation, the original Japanese logo of Shin Megami Tensei. That's what the script that wraps around the summoning circle, that's what it says.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
As
that's
above, so
what
below.
Baphomet is really trying to also represent as well. I think it's still law, especially since the part that I'm getting into here in a moment, it's very aligned with Satan and has a lot of ties to Satan now in the present day, who is very strongly law aligned, as we talked about before.
I think the people who were into Baphomet didn't know that Satan was an angel and didn't know that Satan was the one who was bringing out all of God's dirty work. You know, and basically being his executioner or the one to go drop the axe. And
Right. So let's move forward to see. So what does Baphomet mean to people today? Because it's kind of totally different than from where it started.
Oh yeah, like I made that reference to The Shining, and I thought that was super weird. Like I recognized that while I was
it's
watching
funny.
that film.
I just while you were talking about it, I quickly typed in. I was like, "Oh, meaning of hands and arms of Baphomet," and the first image that popped up was that one in The Shining.
Oh, good. I feel validated.
So
because I didn't actually look that up. I recognized it. I was like, oh my god, is he doing the Baphomet thing?
he's doing the Baphomet thing. Today, Baphomet is used as the icon for the Church of Satan.
I shouldn't giggle when I hear the Church of Satan.
So I'm really glad that the Church of Satan is now in my search history, as I have spent a long time on their main page.
This is what the private windows are for. It's not for porn. It's making sure that you don't have Church of Satan emails coming in.
And of course, just like any other church, they're asking for donations. They don't seem
course
any
they
more
are.
evil than any other church,
They're
from what
just
I'm
as
feeling.
evil.
They're all about the same.
We need those Templars back.
Like, I'm just reading the page and I'm like, this just sounds like any other Catholic page. It's just, this is the
It's
Church
just a
of
little
Satan.
more black and red.
Yeah, it was totally like normal, nonchalant. Everything's fine.
Their churches, their priests wear horns instead.
So mostly the church uses the head of Baphomet with the pentagram behind it, which is the sigil of Baphomet. So that is mainly what they use as their icon throughout the church. While the Church of Satan has long used Baphomet as the symbol, the figure has also made recent headlines.
Oh no. I'm still a little surprised that the modern Church of Satan, which I'm not surprised exists, they currently use Baphomet as their front-facing, Mary?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a little...
Baphomet is the main icon and imagery for the Church of Satan.
Wow. So he became Muhammad. That's so good. It's full circle. He became what he was. I'm so proud of him.
Hey, you called it a him again.
They grow up so fast. It only took 1,000 years.
You're gonna love this story. You are going to love this story.
It gets better?
Oh yeah, because in 2015, the Satanic Temple commissioned a statue of Baphomet, which then moved to various places as a protest against displays of Ten Commandment monuments in public spaces in the Oklahoma City Capitol.
So people were protesting this statue because of the Ten Commandments, or because it was...
No. The Baphomet statue was protesting the Ten Commandment statue.
Okay, like commandment number 1, thou shalt not have any
No,
false idols
this is
over
like
me.
a full Ten Commandments monument, like all of it. All of the commandments.
Oh, the commandments are on here, but Baphomet is the...
This is a separate statue.
Okay.
Okay, so the church wanted to donate a Ten Commandments statue representing all the Ten Commandments to a public space in Oklahoma City.
I see.
Because the Church of Satan was like, you have to fairly represent all religions, and like that's upsetting that this isn't a public capital, like in the governing space.
They have a point. I mean...
They commissioned a statue of Baphomet.
I hate to be the devil's advocate, quite literally, but I think
I have to take their side in this.
Yeah, that is completely...
So they
that's right.
had donated their statue of Baphomet to be placed along with the Ten Commandments statue.
I see. That was the context I needed. I understand.
So
they put these next to each other?
Yeah. So...
That's so good.
I don't know if it ever got out to there because they had just said, hey, we're going to donate this statue to you guys.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma Supreme Court ruled that the Ten Commandments monument must be removed from the state capitol.
The Ten Commandments had to be removed?
Because if the Ten Commandments
Oh,
is
okay.
removed,
I see.
then the Baphomet statue will also be removed. So a representative from the satanic...
This is why you can't have cake.
A representative from the Satanic Temple had this to say after the court's ruling. The entire point of our effort was to offer a monument that would complement and contrast the Ten Commandments, reaffirming that we live in a nation that respects plurality. A nation that refuses...
As above, so below.
A nation that refuses to allow a single viewpoint to co-opt the power and authority of government institutions.
You know what? Good for the Satanists.
I was like...
I actually agree with
I
them.
completely agree with them.
Though I don't know all of their intentions, at the very least, the core idea there was good.
So now, the statue was, never... I don't know if it was ever actually placed there in the Capitol.
But it still exists.
The statue exists.
So we can find images of this thing.
Yes, and I have images of the thing.
Oh, boy.
It is now the statue resides in an art gallery in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh, well, that's perfect.
Right.
I'm sure they love it there.
So that brings me to my pop quiz.
Oh, boy. I'm ready.
This statue depicts Baphomet sitting cross-legged in the middle with two other figures featured on either side of it.
Okay.
What are the two figures? A young boy and girl. B, a cat and a dog. Or C, Satan and Lucifer.
I'm actually going to say a young boy and girl.
You would be correct.
Yes.
They are looking up at Baphomet longingly and...
Because he's Muhammad. He's come full circle. He's come full pentagram.
He's come full
I don't know. It's a dance number. He was a flamenco dancer at one point, if you remember.
That just doesn't even make sense.
All right, so Kim is showing me the image right now, which we will link in the description. The pentagram behind Baphomet is pointing down, but the pentagram that is on Baphomet's head is pointing up. So I'm sure there's symbolism there. Oh, and I'm noticing the same symbol, the coiled snakes with the dagger thing, is in its sash pants thing that it actually has an SMT.
It's one of the most modern versions we have of Baphomet right now.
That's like super accurate to SMT.
Exactly. I know. I was flabbergasted seeing that SMT is actually very close.
Yeah, I thought the medallion thing with the snakes and the dagger was just Atlas nonsense.
No, I don't. Now, I could have gone into all the esoteric meanings behind every little thing, but I did not look all of that up.
I'm sure it means something. I'm more amazed that it actually is there and it's from something, because now the only things we're looking at Baphomet and SMT that doesn't seem to 100% equate is the fact that it doesn't have a pentagram on its head, like its forehead, and that's kind of all you can ask for.
I wanted to be doing the pose.
That's true.
Too.
Well, it did at one point, but it's not anymore. So.
Right.
Actually, I think at one point it actually had a pentagram, if I can double check.
I'm really upset that you got my pop quiz right.
Why are you upset that I got it right?
I was really hoping I would lead you on and you would, pick Satan and Lucifer.
I'm still on the fact that it is... No, I just double-checked all the art. There is no pentagram in any of them. I'm still on the fact that it was Muhammad, and it is becoming a new Muhammad. So that I really wanted it to be with the kids, teaching the children.
It is! You saw them in the statue. They're, looking up at...
Yeah, so... it's like you could replace that figure with, I don't know, a saint or something, and it would be perfectly fine.
So if you want to look up the statue for yourself, it is, like I said, it is the Baphomet statue made in 2015 in the Salem, Massachusetts Art Gallery. And it looks rather large.
How large would those children be?
Well, I've heard that you can sit in Baphomet's lap. So
How comforting. So it's larger than life size.
Yeah.
Oh,
slightly.
My.
Yeah, it's a big statue. The Church of Satan, it was a donation, but they did say if they need to use it again, they will. And I think it has been looking for a new home.
I can see it being there just to jump in and be like a freedom of speech hero, to jump in and, say, hey, you can't be the religion of the entire country over there.
You can't be using religion in politics, which was their biggest thing.
Which was the actual problem.
Right.
It's kind of ironic that all those Templars died for this exact same problem, and it was kind of Baphomet coming around and fixing the problem in modern day. Don't you find that weird?
Oh, you made this made-up thing that King Philip decided to come up with.
What a jerk. I think that's the moral of the story. King Philip IV was a jerk.
I have never heard so much folklore where there was just misunderstanding after misunderstanding.
I hate the fact that, like, this was effectively somebody not understanding the IT development on the phone because they worked in India. And they were like, did he say Muhammad? No, he said Baphomet. That's what he said. Baphomet. He's definitely a pagan over there. You know what? We should set all those crusaders on fire because...
And that was 300 years later.
300 years later. Do you remember when those guys over the hill said, Baphomet? Yeah, we should definitely kill all the crusaders for that.
So, just as a quick wrap up in pop culture, you were already talking kind of like symbolism and like berserk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
No snake penis?
No.
Okay.
We see Baphomet in a lot of pop culture today, from games like Doom and D&D, to it being used as in just generally inspiring imagery of the devil. So a lot of times you'll see imagery of the devil and they're just taking inspiration from Baphomet.
It seems like Baphomet then should be more powerful in SMT.
Yeah, you would think that, but I think because it's such a newer demon, I feel like it doesn't have as many.
And that
it's a weird...
Its foundation is so flimsy.
It's very flimsy. I was very upset. I thought this was going to be like a culturally rich demon with like great lore.
I heard nothing about witches, and I really wanted witches.
I told you this really doesn't have anything to do. It has more to do with the Church of Satan.
I think the Shin Megami Tensei wiki or the fandom page, one or the other, directly says that it is a Wiccan idol. So now I know all of my Wikipedias that I read through, I can't trust them.
Well, it's always like a mistranslation too.
That is fair. I always worry about everything, that. It's the demon of mistranslation, so it might as well say it's Buddhist. I mean, you saw him meditating.
I know.
I can misinterpret that.
And then, I just love what has become of some of these idols when it comes to the squishable world.
Oh,
because
yeah.
there is a Baphomet squishable.
There's a Baphomet line.
It's so great.
And she doesn't own a single one of them yet.
Well, now I'm a little worried knowing its symbolism basically means the Church of Satan. I don't know if I want to.
Can I have a Muhammad one? I'm sorry, I still find that funny.
It's horrible. I mean, when I was first reading it, I was like, no, that can't be the case. And I found it in 6 different websites and articles. There have been dissertations written on how this was just a big miscommunication.
Yeah, right. Baphomet. That's the way that I'm going to forever remember this.
Just how awful King Philip was. There's just this whole thing about, that was just criminal what he did to these people.
Yeah, but he was the king, so a king can't be a criminal.
I know. So, ultimately, I feel like the icon is a little misunderstood in today's culture because I see it so much as the breaking down and the unification and becoming one.
Oh, absolutely. You show this to somebody in the Catholic Church today and they're going to be like, oh, this blasphemous treachery. What is this? And it's really, it's a joke. It's a corruption of an important biblical figure.
It just doesn't really come off as demonic to me anymore now that I've known, but I also see it as the Church of Satan, which I don't really see as demonic anymore after reading through their pages.
Oh, what is demonic though? I mean, come on.
I don't even know anymore.
Angels can be demonic as the last episode, so who knows?
I feel like it's very misunderstood today, but how do you feel about him? Her? It?
They?
Them.
I certainly don't know how I feel about it anymore. Now that I know what it is and where it came from, it's still making my head spin a little bit. I feel like, if anything, I'm going to chuckle when I see, those Baphomet plushies, or if God forbid, I run into some Church of Satan followers and they have some Baphomet stuff, I can say hey, they probably don't want to know.
You never know when there's someone from the Church of Satan, just as you would never know if someone's, a Catholic. You know, it's just a religion.
Yeah, I'm not going to assume somebody's religion based on, I don't know, the pentagrams that they're wearing on the back of their shirt.
I mean, we've moved out of the era of the satanic panic. We have a better understanding of people in the church.
People have a better understanding of science and information and history now, too, which is kind of what we're telling you all about. You know, it's not like we're saying go worship the devil with this episode or anything. We're saying, hey, this is a really interesting piece of history that we're learning because of a character in a video game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's great that there is so much representation. It seems like such a random character to be represented throughout so many games and movies, and like
that probably happened because the Church of Satan latched onto it, and it's an easy thing to point to because it's an image,
right?
You know,
well,
it's a
now
recognizable
people
because
they're using that face, I feel like people misinterpret it as it is a demon, it's demonic, it's evil, when it's just really an idol more than anything else. When you get down to it.
People are just running away with the idea. It's just snowballing into its own thing. And you know what? That's kind of fun.
Well,
Except for all those Templars, they probably wouldn't call it fun.
No. I think the Pope got away, because you were saying... like,
no, the Pope did get away with it, and he was in on the conspiracy, as far as I was aware, Pope Clement. However, he did die within the year, as foretold by the burning night.
Yeah. And, you know, I've heard some sketchy things about, like, who the Freemasons worship, too, and that kind of stuff. And
Freemasons are messed up.
But that's the thing is,
their history is messed up.
Their history is messed up.
I should be very clear, because they
like,
exist
modern-day Freemasons, like, we have a Masonic temple just down the road.
We do.
And it's just, like, I've heard as a very blunt description from some people that it's just a bunch of older guys getting to wear nicer clothes, smoke cigars, and talk about things.
And fish fries.
Fish fries, like...
That's not evil.
I'm not seeing...
but their history, oh my god.
Right. I think that really about wraps it up for Baphomet.
Yeah, I guess so. Be sure to tune into the next episode where we will summon a new demon that begins with the letter C. So let us know your favorite demon that begins with C and what you thought of this episode. And I would also like to know what you think. Is Baphomet a law or chaos demon? Because Kim and I still don't agree.
It's law.
I kind of think it's chaos.
I think it's law.
But we would love to hear from you. You can find me online at HamsterBomb on YouTube, where I host a long list of Let's Plays, reviews, and live streams. Thank you all so much for listening. Take care not to let the demons possess you while you sleep. And we will see you all in the next episode. Booyah! Say bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye!